Okay, hello and welcome back. Thank you very much for entering your information and downloading the My Legacy Planner template that I provided to you. Let me just tell you right now, this is strictly an instructional video. It's a short video. I'll make it zippy. I'll make it powerful for you. I don't have anything to sell you. I don't have anything to offer to you. This is my gift to you as a man in this world, so that you can live the greatest and best life that you possibly can. So let's get to it. What you have in front of you is what I call My Legacy Planner. Now, it's not a hard, difficult instrument to use. It's not a difficult template to use. It identifies eight key areas in your life that I feel that you should concentrate on, you should focus on, and more importantly, if you'll identify what you want out of those 8 key areas in your life in conjunction with the core contract or the core theme of your life, then I believe that you will live a life that can be described as a life of legacy, a life that makes a difference, a life that has a purpose, a life that makes an impact, a life that's fulfilling to you, and a life that's easily shared with your friends, family, loved ones, your significant other, your business partners, all of those key people and relationships that are in your life on a regular basis. By living this legacy planner, by reminding yourself of it frequently, it makes you a better man in your community, a better man in the world. So let's get to it. So you'll notice that the first part on the left, I call it your core life commitment. Okay, so this is a statement about your way of being. In other words, how will you exist in the world? What is your way of being? What is the way in which you will move through the world? Notice I say this, that you would want to make a statement of your way of being, who you are as a person, and what your highest personal values are. So now how do you get to this? Well, you would answer the question, who will I always go back to as my foundation when things are good and when things are challenging? So here's my core life statement. I am a passionate, creative, generous, and adventurous leader. So anytime anything is going on in my life, that good or bad, I mean, like I can have a success in business and I can say that came as a result of me being committed, passionate, creative, and adventurous, living my core values, my core life statement, right? I'm having a challenge, okay? You have a challenge in life. You're having a relationship challenge. You have a challenge at business. You're having a challenge with your personal health, okay? Go back to your core life commitment and who are you as a person? What is your way of being? If I have a challenge, in my example here, if I have a challenge, let's say if I have a challenge getting motivated to do something, getting motivated to do work, getting motivated to do this video, let's just say, all right? I could go back to my core life commitment and say, you know what? I'm passionate. I'm creative. I'm gonna be giving away information. I am generous. And you know what? I am adventurous. I mean, this is a frontier that I'm going through, right? So I always go back to the core commitment of who I am. Now, guys, when you're doing this activity, let me give you just a couple of parameters, if I may. And I probably should have done this at the outset of the video. I'll do it now since it's on my mind. And that is, put yourself in an environment that's going to help you, that's going to lend to you doing this activity, to putting this template together, okay? So if that's a cup of coffee in the morning in your comfortable chair, quiet, away from the rest of the family, the house, great. If you have to go out on a hike and be alone in a park bench and write that down, you know, on a notebook paper, great. If you got to go to the coffee shop and, you know, put your beats on and jam in some really tight music that you really like, and it puts you in a frame of mind where you can go internal and you can really examine who you are as a man, great. You know the environment that's going to lend itself most to helping you really get to the core of who you are, your way of being as a person, okay? And by the way, this first step, my core life commitment, it doesn't have to take that long. I mean, seriously, you could write down who you are, your life's core commitment in 10 minutes. or less, right? Especially if you think about these things on a consistent basis, right? Like who you are as a man in this world. And here's the other thing that I want you to understand. The first time out of the box, it doesn't have to be right. Second time, it doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be the end all be all. The third time doesn't have to be the end all be all. This is a work in progress. It's going to evolve. It's going to evolve as you think more in terms of who you are as a man. And what I want you to think about is not so much who you've been or really who you are today, but a blend. Like who will you be tomorrow going forward? What core values will you always go back to in a time of challenge or in a time of victory? What core values will you always go back to? So those core values can evolve. They can evolve over the next few days. They can evolve over the next few months. Mine has evolved over about 3 years to get to this point here, because recently I added the word adventurous to my life commitment, my core commitment, because I didn't consciously realize how important adventure was to me as a person. So I travel, I do, adventurous things. Maybe they're not adventurous to you, but they're adventurous to me, right? When I go out and seek a new business, a new business venture, right? That's adventurous. When I meet new people, to me, that's adventurous. Yeah, sure, I've jumped out of airplanes and I've walked on fire and I've ridden a Harley Davidson at 120 miles an hour. Those kinds of things, they're adventurous, right? But I'm talking more about the way of being. So do you see everything, in my case, do I see everything in life as an adventure? For me, it puts me in a great frame of mind when I can go into a situation and see it as an adventure. Okay, it's an adventure. So about a year or so, I guess, ago, I added the word adventurous to my core commitment, because if I ever have a hesitation about whether or not I should do something, the word adventure fills that void. Get in a quiet place, be concentrated, have some concentrated effort. We're not after perfection, we're after progress. Write down the first 3 or 4 things that come to your mind. Tweak those. See how they feel. Write them down again. See how they feel. See if they can go into being what you call a core life commitment. Now, a couple of things about the statement that you'll actually write. The statement you need to write in the affirmative. In other words, I am a passionate, creative, generous, and adventurous leader. Not I want to be, not I wish I could, not when I'm feeling really good, I am. It's the way of being for you all the time. I am. So I am a man of an integrity. I am a family-centered man. I am a philanthropist. Whatever works for you, you put it in the present, in the affirmative. And I find it best to write a few short words. Don't be really verbose with it. You don't need a paragraph. It's something that you need to be able to repeat to yourself immediately and on demand. I am a passionate, creative, generous, and adventurous leader. What works for you? Now, all right, let's go to the second part here. All right, you'll see in the center box it says, determine the core areas of your life that you hold your highest values in. You decide. Now, I've given you 8 suggestions here. You could have more, you could have less. You want the main areas of your life that make a statement about who you will be in the world, and make a statement in those areas about who you would be in the world. Now, in the example here, I've given you an example from my love / relationships category, where I say to myself, I am a romantically, sexually, and soulfully connected to my partner for life. We share the depths of life's experiences with each other, encourage and support each other's dreams and vision for life. So that's the affirmative statement that I have in the area of love and relationships. In other areas, The other areas that I've included are the areas of philanthropy, the areas of personal growth and education. What is your commitment to ongoing improvement of yourself? Back to philanthropy, what are you going to do to be generous in the world? How are you going to give back? In what areas and how much and when? Then we have the area of love, partner and relationships, which I just covered. We have the area of adventure and entertainment. So I think that this is a key area for me in my life because it gives my life balance when I know I'm in a place of adventure and entertainment. Doesn't mean that I'm a party animal. It just means that that is a component of my life. I hope that it's a component of your life as well. Other areas, other core areas of life, family. Like who will you be? What is your way of being with your family? Your health and fitness. So this video was originally introduced as my gift to you men for Men's Health Month. Health and fitness, fellas, is so key for us. Now, a lot of us, we've been gym rats and we've lived in a locker room most of our lives. I get that. I'm talking about a much, much bigger picture, the holistic self of you, the man. So what are you doing to bring physical balance, mental balance, emotional balance, to make yourself a holistic man in your health and fitness? I have the category of spirituality. What do you do to feed and nourish yourself spiritually? What is your way of being in those areas? I also then have the area of long-term wealth. So what is your way of being in terms of wealth, your acquisition of material possessions, how you will use them, your goals of when you will achieve those? Now, here's the way that this works. You've got the 8 areas there. The areas that I recommend or that I suggest, pardon, the areas that I suggest, if you want to add an area or two, you're more than welcome to, all right? Then in each of those core areas, you create a 1-year goal, a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal, and then a 30-year vision. In other words, what does this look like 30 years from now? Now, I'm going to assume that you have every intention to live another 30 years. I believe that I've got a good 45 to 50 years left with me, okay? Which will put me over 100 years old. I firmly believe that I will live beyond 100 years old. I've believed that for many, 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 many years. So let's cross my fingers and hope not to die. But what I want you to do is I want you to identify specifically what that 1-year goal looks like. Let's just pick one. Let's just pick one, the area of, let's just pick the area of health and fitness since that's our topic for this month, okay? So in 1 year, you write a goal in the affirmative. In 1 year, I will weigh 200 pounds. In 1 year, I will wear a size 34 waistline, jeans. In 1 year, I will be able to bench press 150 pounds. I'm just making these things up, as you can tell. You slot in, you figure out what works for you in that 1 year. In 1 year, I will have run a 10K race. In 1 year, I will have trained for and run a full marathon. In 1 year, I will have climbed 5 14,000 peaks in Colorado. You decide what's going to fit into your health and your fitness in this category. Then you put together your 5-year goal, your 5-year projection. In 5 years, I will have trained for and successfully completed a full triathlon, an Ironman. In 5 years, I will have trained for and successfully achieved climbing 30 14,000 foot peaks in Colorado. In 5 years, I will have single-digit body fat. I will have a completely healthy nutritional diet. I will have, I will weigh 195 pounds. I'm 6'1", so these numbers make sense to me, okay? you pick what that looks like in 5 years. Now, unlike a lot of goal-oriented programs, where you write down the goals and they say they need to be measurable, they need to be slightly above achievable. In other words, you're going to stretch yourself a little bit, but you're going to make sure that they're achievable. Unlike those kinds of programs, I really want you to take a minute and create a vision. Like, what's the most outlandish thing that you could do? I'm just going to pick an example out of the sky, okay? And that is, you want to climb Mount Everest. Now, Mount Everest is 29,000 feet in the air. People train for years and years and years to go ascend to the summit, and they never make it, okay? But let's just pretend for a moment that that's your health and fitness, or maybe that's your adventure entertainment goal, right? 5 years comes along and you haven't made it. No, you haven't made it all the way to the summit of Mount Everest, but you've been to base camp twice, which, by the way, a percent of a percent of a percent of a percent of people on the planet ever do this successfully. So you're not looking to beat yourself up 5 years from now. You're looking to give yourself a greater vision of your legacy, of who you are in the area of health and fitness, or adventure in this case. Now, where this really gets crucial, or where this really comes to life, is in the area of wealth, long-term wealth, in the area of relationships, in the area of philanthropy, because those can be measured and they can be tracked along the way, and you can see the progress, right? So, you're going to have X amount of dollars in the bank by this time next year. You're going to have X amount of dollars in the bank by this time in 5 years. So now you have a measurable, and it seems real. By the way, all of these things, remember what they go back to. They go back to your core life commitment. They always go back to your core life commitment. Man, I just can't get myself up off the couch to go train for that marathon. Well, I am a creative, generous, and adventurous and passionate leader. So my passion is going to motivate me to get off the couch and go train for that. All right. Couple of other areas here that you want to focus on: your personal growth and education. Who are you expanding to as a man? So what's your 1 year goal, your 5 year goal? Notice the other component here is a 10-year goal. So let's look at it 10 years from now. What's your vision for yourself in these areas 10 years from now? And then what's your greater vision 30 years from now? In other words, 30 years from now, as you look back at it, you'll be able to say, you know what? I was this way. I lived harmoniously with who I said my life core commitment is. And I was able to contribute this. I was able to achieve this. I was able to connect with these people. I was able to improve this many relationships. So at that point, you're now reflecting back. There's an old activity that goes around in seminars, and I think it's called the Charles Dickens process. I believe that's the process. And essentially what happens is you're in your rocking chair on the porch, rocking, and you're looking back at your life. And when you look back at your life, what do you see? Who were you? What did you become? Where did you contribute? What kind of person were you to others and for others? So you're in your rocking chair on your porch, pardon me, looking back over your life, and you look at your vision and you see that yes, you have lived a life that created a legacy. I think all too often we also think, especially as men, because like we're into doing stuff, right? Let's not necessarily focus on be, let's accomplish, let's check some boxes off, right? So I think all too often though, we get involved in the acquisition, in the chase, in the hunt. We're hunters by nature. And so let's go out, hunt it, kill it, bag it, shred it, cut it, drag it home, hang it up on the wall, cook it, let's do all of that. And that has its place, especially for a man, right? That has its place because we are so accomplishment driven. It's in our nature that we have to have those. Along the way, though, the greater good is accomplished in who we are as individuals. What is our way of being? What is our way of existence as individuals? And so that's what I would like for you to focus on. So take the template. Number one, your core life commitment statement. Get in a place of solitude, in a place of quiet where you can accomplish this. Write down who your core self is, your way of being. Then you move to the other 8 areas or areas that you identify as important in your life, and you write another sentence in the affirmative for your 1-year goal, your 5-year goal, your 10-year goal, and your 30-year vision. And when you're writing those down, you're going to keep in mind that you have a way of being while in that value. So if I am working on my core life area number 3, in this example, spirituality, then I have a way of being. I am open, I am vulnerable, I am reflective, I am receptive to spirituality. That's my way of being, and as long as I am in that place, because it supports my overall life core commitment, then I am more open to receive the benefits of spiritual growth in this case. So take a moment, take several moments, and listen guys, let me just tell you, this is not a thing you're going to just check off the list and go, okay, I did this, Paul, and check, here you go. What do you think? I want it to become a part of you. I want it to become a part of who you are, of who you, of how you reflect on your life. Give me a second here. So I just had this thought. This is my journal. This is my most recent journal. You can see that I just, I am always in the journaling about a number of things, ideas, thoughts, emotions, experiences, as a way to keep track of my life and as a way to keep track of who I am, right? So this work right here, okay, came from many volumes of this work. And I have in my closet back here, I probably have a dozen that I have with me here in my home. In storage, I probably have another 24 journals because I've journaled for many, many years on a variety of things. But your work today for the Legacy Planner, your work today comes from who you are as a man, your way of being, and how you're going to sustain that. So write it in a way that means something to you, and write it in a way that you'll keep, and write it in a way especially that you will reflect on. Here's how you use it later, okay? So once it's all complete, pardon me, once it's all complete, then on a regular basis, you decide, could be daily, could be weekly, but every so often you need to go back and physically write that down in your journal. Physically write it back down in your journal to remind you to get it reintegrated back into your system, back into your nervous system. And that's the way I find it to be the best benefit of all. That is my gift to you. That is my Legacy Planner, Men's Health Month gift. Take care of yourself, men, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so that you can be the best version of you. Now, if you like this video, share it with another man or friend. Please give me the nice comments below, and send an email to paul@paulmontalongo.com, paul@paulmontalongo.com. Send to me your Legacy Planner. It will remain confidential with me. You can send all of it. You can send a part of it. If you'd like my feedback, my review, if you'd like me to help you tweak it, I'm more than happy to help you do that. paul@paulmontalongo.com. And if along the way somewhere you want coaching of some sort, you can get on my calendar, paulmontalongo.com/strategy, and we'll set up a session that's free for you. Go out and be the best version of a man that you can be. I appreciate that you watched. Take care.